So, Superstar Saga is 14 years old. Now, me and this game have a lot of history. This game was essentially when I first got hooked on the Mario Brothers. It was the first RPG that showed me just how creative a Mario game could be. It introduced a really weird concept of you and your brother Luigi are essentially the same person. When you move Mario around, Luigi's gonna follow you, and this game is really pays off because of it. And this game really was the first game that made me realize how great Mario is. This propelled Mario into being one of my favorite icons. This is probably one of my favorite RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. Now, the Game Boy Advance was, I want to say, one of the first consoles that I ever got for Christmas. I want to say, other than that, my dad would usually buy consoles and he would usually buy them pretty late, but that's just a story for a whole nother video. Now, in this game, it actually makes turn-based RPGs work. It actually makes you attentive to turn-based RPGs, and a lot of people credit it for essentially making turn-based RPGs doable, because when you're playing a turn-based RPG, just count how many times I said turn-based RPG in the last like 30 seconds. But when you're playing a game of this genre, you're usually just selecting what characters do and just watching them do and hoping they hit, or if they miss, or hoping your character avoids the other character on the other side of the screen at the right time. But what this did was it introduced the button commands, and it introduced this dual system, and introduced timed attacks, and it introduced counterattacks. So you could go through an entire battle without getting hit, with the exception of some bosses that are just really overpowered. But it still is possible to go through this entire game without getting hit. And this is one of my favorite games in the Mario and Luigi series, just because it actually introduced me to the series, and it had this really cool mode called Super Mario Brothers, based on one of their really old and somewhat obscure games called I'm pretty sure it's called Mario Brothers. And they would go underground and they would essentially clean the pipes. They would kill monsters, and they would kill these little turtles and Goombas and Spinnies and stuff like that. And you could hit a power block and stuff like that. And that was the first game I played on a Game Boy Advance. It's my favorite, probably my favorite portable game till today. And I just want to show my gratitude through this video with how amazing this game is, and how this game completely changed my perspective on what a turn-based RPG is. You know, with all the special moves, with all the counter moves. They had a hammer. It just completely changed. It really just showed me that Mario doesn't really have to be jumping on a Goomba, and Mario doesn't really have to be a linear story. You know, there can be characters other than Mario with a lot of character. Actually, you know, we got introduced. That's when I got introduced to EGAD, essentially. That's when Bowser really started to talk, and Bowser as a villain really started to grow for me, because he was really funny. He was like, "I'm the king of Koopas." Essentially, he's just mad through the whole game because he's like, it's only I get to capture Princess Peach." So it's really cool to see how old this game is. And actually, I don't really think I played this game on the time it came out. I might have played this game late. Back then, I really got my consoles later than when they released. So, you know, everyone's already moved on to the PlayStation 2, and I probably still had a Nintendo 64, and I wasn't really that big or this keen on console gaming. I just, when there was a game in front of me, I just played it. So yeah, when I played this game, the colors, how vibrant it was, and the music, and all that good stuff just popped out of me. And I just remember it so well. I remember the battle theme was just one of my favorite pieces in all of video games and stuff like that. And it's kind of sad because I've seen some comparisons between the 3DS remake and back then. And back then, still, not only does it still hold up today, but it still has tons of personality. Like, I'm sure that there are these Koopas that are dressed up like pilots in the regular version. It just shows a lot more personality. And in the newer version, they're just regular old red and green Koopas, and that's kind of sad to see them. I mean, I like the updated Bowser model, obviously. I like the updated Mario model, obviously. Those are beautiful, but those games with those updated models are just generally not as complex as this one. You know, Like I don't really feel like I'm in any real sense of immediate danger or anything with these recent games. Like Paper Jam, I'm sorry, Paper Jam was just so underwhelming, and Dream Team was all right, but at the end of the day, it just was not as memorable as Superstar Saga was, and well, honestly, still is. I mean, I still get emulators just to play this game, and this game just made a lot of hallmarks for me as a gamer. I know I say that a lot because I only cover the games that make these hallmarks for me as a gamer, but yeah, essentially, I this is one of my favorite RPGs ever, and it's like 14 years old today. So, happy birthday, Superstar Saga! You know, it's one of my favorite RPGs ever, and yeah, I guess I'll just hop off of you.